An introverted second-year high school student, Naoto Hachiouji, never addressed as such, drops his self-drawn manga at school, and several girls mock him except for Hayase Nagatoro, a first-year student who deduces the hero is based on himself. She torments him by proving his character is braver than him, causing him to cry. He attempts to avoid her, but she interrupts his art club and pushes him into drawing her, but only after teasing him with the suggestion she pose nude. She also offers him a secret prize for the finished drawing. With the drawing finished, she pretends to offer him a kiss, but then mocks him for it, pointing out he was obviously too embarrassed to draw her thighs properly, causing him to cry again. On their way home, she asks him on a date, only to mock him again for thinking she was being serious, and accidentally pushes him into a river. When he barely reacts, she demands to know why he isn't angry, and he admits after a lifetime of bullying, he can't get angry anymore. And while she annoys him, he kind of enjoys her attention. Satisfied with his answer, she demands he call her Nagatoro, and she will call him Senpai. Senpai buys an erotic vampire manga, which Nagatoro steals. Reading it, Nagatoro realizes the story is actually interesting, but does point out the cowardly human protagonist clearly resembles Senpai. Nagatoro jumps on Senpai, pretending to vampirize him, only to be repelled by the garlic from his lunch, accidentally grabs his crotch, embarrassing them both, though she takes the opportunity to tease him for becoming aroused. The next day, Nagatoro proposes a game of accurately poking where each other's nipples are under their clothing, with the prize of being a ticket to force the loser to do any one thing without real choosing. Senpai agrees, hoping he can force her to stop teasing him. Nagatoro correctly locates Senpai's nipples on her first attempt and assumes Senpai will be too embarrassed to take his turn. When Senpai decides he will try, Nagatoro becomes flustered, declares the game is over, and escapes before he can take his turn. Senpai goes to his favourite restaurant to continue writing his manga when Nagatoro arrives with her friend on a double date with two boys. Senpai notices Nagatoro seems bored with the boys and doesn't tease them at all. However, when they meet outside the restaurant, Nagatoro returns to normal and teases Senpai as they walk home. Nagatoro pretends to strip in front of Senpai, revealing she is wearing a swimsuit as underwear, then teases him for believing she would strip naked. Walking home, they shelter from a rainstorm and Nagatoro teases him over her shirt becoming see-through. Believing she is still wearing her swimsuit, Senpai looks at her and sees her bra, flustering them both. As the rain continues, Nagatoro invites Senpai to her home, which is close compared to his long walk home. Unable to leave after Nagatoro puts his wet clothes in the dryer, Senpai is invited to play games. Being an experienced gamer, Senpai plans to defeat her as revenge, but she continues to tease him and defeats him instead. Despite this, Senpai admits he had fun. The next day, Senpai is unable to find anywhere to sit at lunch and is forced to sit with Nagatoro and her friends. Nagatoro shows visible jealousy when they try to touch him, and he even defends him from their teasing, causing Senpai to loudly declare he and Nagatoro are not dating, which annoys her. She later tries to teach him to turn teasing into a comedy routine with a funny shoulder slap. However, Senpai becomes so flustered he accidentally slaps her breasts, flustering them both, but Nagatoro recovers first and teases him about touching her breasts on purpose. Nagatoro's friends, Gamo and Yoshii, tease him about being a virgin and force him to squeeze Gamo's breasts before revealing it was really bean buns under her shirt. They flee when Nagatoro arrives and again is jealous, though she is less annoyed after learning Senpai only touched the buns. She instead forces him into another game to guess the difference between a normal and a limited edition bean bun under her shirt, but one of them falls out and Senpai accidentally squeezes her actual breast, flustering them both and earning Senpai a punishment. Later, while posing for his drawing, Nagatoro notices Senpai is distracted watching classmate Hosokawa, champion of the baseball club, and deduces he is jealous of Hosokawa's popularity. Nagatoro points out he can't expect praise from his talents if he never praises other people either, and demands he praise her, but is surprised when he compliments everything he likes about her, so she compliments his embarrassed reactions to her teasing. Senpai struggles to draw her while she teases him until Nagatoro accidentally falls asleep, and he is able to draw her. For finishing the drawing, Nagatoro pretends to kiss him with his eyes closed, only to reveal he actually kissed a toy, and teases him about getting his hopes, though she does admit she really likes the drawing. Nagatoro has a nightmare about Senpai ignoring her and spending time with Gamo and Yoshii, then becomes embarrassed when she wakes and finds Senpai covered her with a blanket. After tickling him, she dares him to tickle her back, but she backs out at the last second from embarrassment. She offers to trim his long hair and he eventually agrees, but she is called away by Gamo and Yoshii, who capture Senpai and threaten to shave his entire head. but Senpai manages to resist until a furious Nagatoro returns, sending Gamo and Yoshii fleeing. Touched that he was willing to resist just so she could cut his hair, she gives him a proper haircut. During a heatwave, Nagatoro insists they get shaved ice. Unknown to Nagatoro, Senpai protects her from perverts staring at her where sweat has made her bra visible through her shirt. Seeing her suffering from the heat, Senpai drags her out of the queue of customers to sit in the shade. After she recovers, she instead buys the both of them some convenience store ice cream as thanks. As summer break is starting, Senpai believes he won't see Nagatoro all summer until she asks for his phone number, surprising him that she would bother staying in touch. However, she instead begins sending him dozens of messages calling him a pervert. Senpai awakens in a fantasy world where he is tasked with defeating a demon lord. He forms a team with feline warrior Nagatoro, Gamo the huntress, and dragon girl Yoshii. Reaching the demon lord's castle, Senpai realizes the girls are actually the 3 demon lords who tease him for being a cowardly virgin. Senpai awakes in a restaurant, revealing the whole thing was a story he was writing that turned into a nightmare. Nagatoro finds his notebook filled with drawings of her as a sexy cat girl, so she teases him about his fantasies. Nagatoro insists Senpai visits the beach with her, Gamo and Yoshii, who tease him with their bikinis, making Nagatoro jealous. Senpai insists on sitting in the shade sketching, as he hates sunburn and struggles at swimming. Nagatoro offers to rub sun cream on him, but he resists, as that is something dating couples do. Irritated at the rejection, Nagatoro applies the cream violently with her foot, then becomes annoyed when Gamo and Yoshii also insist on stepping all over him. Senpai ends up having a lot of fun at the beach, which makes Nagatoro happy. It is later revealed Senpai had been sketching Nagatoro smiling at the beach. Senpai is surprised Nagatoro doesn't invite him to the summer festival, so he goes by himself and bumps into Gamo and Yoshii. They send a picture to Nagatoro, so she rushes to the festival in a fit of jealousy, where Gamo challenges her to win Senpai back. During the festival games, Nagatoro teases him about wanting her to invite him, but hints he could have invited her. Nagatoro wins Senpai back, so Gamo and Yoshii leave. Fireworks draw a crowd, so Senpai takes her to a more secluded spot to watch. Nagatoro teases that he is just trying to get her alone despite being too cowardly to try for a kiss. Senpai responds that she is also too cowardly to try, causing an awkward moment. They suddenly realise the secluded spot is a makeout spot and they are surrounded by kissing couples, so they flee. Senpai suggests they visit next year's festival together, pleasing her. After returning to school, Senpai sees a boy in Nagatoro's group keep putting his arm around her, so he finds the courage to ask Nagatoro to leave with him, which she happily does, as do the girls, leaving the confused boys behind. Senpai meets another of Nagatoro's friends, Sakura, one of the girls who first bullied him for drawing manga in the library. As Senpai has weak muscles, Nagatoro forces him to exercise by supporting her on his back, but her butt is too stimulating and Senpai collapses. Senpai becomes obsessed with a new game and forgets to study. Nagatoro warns him if he has to repeat the year he would end up in the same class as her. Senpai thoughtlessly blurts out that sounds fun, embarrassing them both, so he studies religiously and passes his exams, so Nagatoro teases him about deliberately avoiding being in her class. Nagatoro overhears Senpai with Gamo, Yoshii and Sakura sounding suspicious and bursts in on them, only to find them trying to extract a splinter from Senpai's thumb. So Nagatoro jealously extracts the splinter herself. Annoyed over the splinter incident, Nagatoro challenges Senpai to rock, paper, scissors to force him to carry her home when he loses. Senpai almost drops her, and when he tries to catch her, he accidentally grabs her butt with both hands, causing her to flee home in sheer embarrassment. She later calls him to tease him that she is in the bath, his reaction amusing her so much she accidentally... But Senpai steps too close and they almost hug, embarrassing them both. The girls are angered when their lunchroom is invaded by gaming nerds, so they send Sakura to break up the nerds' friendships by flirting and making them jealous of each other. The girls don't believe Senpai is interested in girls, but Nagatoro insists he is perverted and wagers he has porn in the classroom. Nagatoro fails to find any and is mocked by Gamo. Feeling sorry for her, Senpai hints to where he has a dirty magazine, allowing Nagatoro to win and tease him mercilessly. Nagatoro gets a new ear piercing and convinces Senpai to let her pierce his ear. Senpai agrees, but Nagatoro only pretends to do it and teases him about wanting to match her, infuriating Nagatoro when he agrees. Observing their fake date, Nagatoro becomes frustrated at their supposed closeness and catches the stalker herself. With the fake date over, Gamo is disappointed she couldn't take any embarrassing photos of the date. Nagatoro teases him about his awkwardness dating, which he admits is true. Nagatoro offers Senpai hot snaps, which he assumes are nude photographs, until she reveals she was talking about snapping hot chicken and teases him for being perverted. Nagatoro notices Senpai is a slow runner and demands he jog with her. Senpai is distracted when Nagatoro turns up in a revealing running outfit. When he collapses halfway, Nagatoro torments him until he reaches the finish, where she continues to torment him during their cooldown stretches. Senpai needs a model for his latest drawing, and Nagatoro teasingly insists on modelling for him. Senpai agrees but claims he is recreating the Catgirl drawing, so Nagatoro will need to actually wear a Catgirl costume. Senpai later feels guilty about his lie but is shocked when Nagatoro stubbornly turns up in costume. Hearing familiar footsteps, Senpai surprises Nagatoro by insisting she hide. The art club president, whom Senpai is nervous of, arrives to see how Senpai has been managing the art club in her absence, but when she sees his drawings of Catgirl Nagatoro, she threatens to have the club shut down. Nagatoro furiously reveals herself to defend Senpai's dedication to art. To test this, the president demands Senpai run his own art exhibit at the cultural festival in competition with her own, and if the students vote Senpai's exhibit as better than hers, she will leave the club alone. Senpai is not confident, as the president's previous exhibit was a nude painting of herself. Nagatoro is suspicious at Senpai having kept the painting, but does offer to model for him. Senpai refuses, claiming he isn't skilled enough to defeat the president. The girls claim it is because Nagatoro has smaller breasts, causing Senpai to defend Nagatoro, surprising her. Nagatoro models many costumes, but has to admit Senpai's drawings lack impact next to the painting. Senpai decides to not draw Nagatoro anymore in case his exhibit fails, and Nagatoro is embarrassed. The president splits the club room in half to have privacy for her next nude portrait. She advises Senpai that his paintings are skillful, but lack passion. Nagatoro visits but flees seeing the undressed president. While chasing her, Senpai asks her to model for him, but she refuses. Senpai shocks Nagatoro by saying he is happiest drawing her and doesn't want to draw anyone else, embarrassing her but making her happy and causing them both to fall into the pool, where she cheerfully accuses him of looking at her bra again. Nagatoro asks why Senpai continually sketches her in everyday situations, and he says that is when she is the cutest, embarrassing them both but allowing her to tease him. President visits another student who suggests something else is going on around her competition with Senpai. Senpai produces paintings of Nagatoro's daily life. The festival arrives and Nagatoro and the girls wear cat costumes to promote Senpai's paintings. Senpai becomes jealous when Nagatoro teases their visitors, while Nagatoro becomes jealous when girls begin admiring Senpai. Before tensions rose any further, Gamo allows the two a lunch break, where they immediately dismiss their jealousy. Returning, they find the student council refusing to let the president display her painting, claiming it is immoral. Senpai intervenes, claiming the president's desire to paint herself is no different than his desire to paint Nagatoro and should allow her artistic expression. Nagatoro and the girls also support the president, with Yoshii providing camera footage showing that most students were serious admirers. The council allows the painting to remain but disqualifies the president from the competition, giving Senpai victory and allowing the art club to remain open. The girls gleefully insist the president must endure a loser's punishment and force her into a sexy bunny girl costume. The president compliments Senpai's paintings, claiming that they contain his love, embarrassing him and Nagatoro. Senpai invites Nagatoro to the closing event, a musical concert. The next day, Senpai does another sketch of Nagatoro and she offers him another reward, only this time she kisses him for real, though only on the cheek. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to let us know by leaving a like.